Okay, good morning. Hopefully this is working. I'm just gonna check in here on my end. My very professional, there we go. Okay, my very professional setup. Good morning everyone. Tuesday morning, rainy here in Toronto. Like I put out last night in the stories, if you have a stretchy band of some sort, or if not, you could use a yoga belt. You could also just use a belt from like a belt. Who wears belts? I haven't worn a belt in so long. Might as well put it to good use, or a bathrobe belt. Okay, and as always, blankets come in handy just to pad your knee. Make sure you've got a little bit of room. Gonna wait a second or two. Ruth, if you're out there, can you let me know? Just give me a thumbs up that you can hear me and see me. She's my, what would Ruth be? She's my producer. My ever-present eyeballs. So today's going to be a little bit different, and please just have an open mind. I'm asking you. We're going to do a little bit of mobility. We're going to do a fair bit of mobility, but it's going to feed so much good nutrition into your body and into your yoga practice. What I'm hoping is that you'll fall in love with it the same way I have. And if you've ever been in any of Christine Felsted's classes, you'll know and remember how much this stuff really helps your yoga and just really helps you feel better and move better. Yes, Ruth? Oh, okay. Ruth Mandel, she's here. My producer says we're good. Okay, so let's start on our feet. And like I said, it's going to feel like yoga eventually. Right now, just think of this as indoor recess, okay? So we're just going to start with our feet underneath us and just start bouncing. And let me know, Ruth, can you hear the music, or should I turn it up a little bit? Gotta love Willie Nelson, right? So bouncing and just feeling the body kind of waking up, getting the blood flowing, getting a little bit of warmth, a little bit of movement. Bouncing is so good, not just because it feels good in the moment, but it's really good for the lymph system. It promotes lymphatic drainage. And that's something you want to be happening, especially in these fairly stagnant times. So then if you feel pretty comfortable, you know, you want to let your head kind of go and let it jostle around, not too harsh, not too jarring, just a nice soft bounce. And then from there, you want to start to add a little shake and a shimmy. So you're kind of shaking and shimmying your hips, your shoulders. You keep up with that, I'm just going to say. Okay, so shaky, shimmying. Let your arms be relaxed. If you feel like this is a good thing, you can start to make it a little bigger and a little looser and kind of smack the back and the front of your torso with your arms. Let your head do what it's going to do. I'm sure this looks pretty ridiculous. That's fine. I'm okay with being ridiculous. Hope you are too. It's not like anybody's watching. The dogs are judging us all. Oh no, the cats. The cats are absolutely judging us all. Okay, let's bring some rotation. So you can go onto the toes of each foot, ball grounds and sort of stubs out an imaginary cigarette. And we just rotate. Let your head follow all that rotation. The arms are swinging. And that rotation is just sort of spiraling up from the toes right through the entire frame as you look back behind you. Let's do one or two more like this, and we'll bring a little bit more focus in. Hopefully you're starting to feel a little looser, a little more warm. Don't get too comfortable, Lola. You're gonna have to move. Okay, start to slow it down. Take a moment. And let's just check in and see how things feel in our neck specifically, and as well just globally throughout our spine, how our body is moving and feeling today. You know, how'd you sleep, sort of thing. How'd you move yesterday? How'd you not move yesterday? So let's check in with our neck. Drop your chin to your chest. Rotate your chin over to your right shoulder like you're on the edge of your collarbone. Notice whether or not your shoulders are already compensating for that. And then can you tip your right ear back without your left shoulder coming along for the ride? And then roll through, so your gaze sweeps along the ceiling. And then your left ear is hanging back over your left shoulder. What's happening with that right shoulder? Is it creeping up? And then look down to the tip of your toes there on the left side, chin to the edge of your collarbone, and come back through center. Come on up. Level your ears. Retract your head. See if that even happens. Protract your head like you're sliding it along the edge of a table. And then come on back up nice and tall, and we'll do the same thing in the opposite direction. Chin to the left collarbone. Tip your ear back. What's happening is the shoulder chasing. So all these little cues I'm giving, we sweep across. It's all about the body trying to compensate for lack of mobility or lack of stability. And then ear falls back behind the right shoulder. We look down over those right toes, and we come on back to center. Take one more pass on your own. I'm not going to give you any cues. I want you to really pay attention to how things are feeling. If there's any sort of pinching, then make it a little smaller, make it a little slower, and see if you can breathe as you move through these things. Okay, we want to be able to tell our nervous system that everything's okay and that we're able to thrive and live as we move. Otherwise, everything gets locked down. One time in each direction, and then we'll make it a little bigger. Okay, Gaga, go to bed. So now, let's sort of take a pass through our spine, moving in all the directions our spine wants to be able to move. So let's go all the way down to roll. A little bit of a soft bend in the knees. We're going to roll all the way down. Your fingertips can slide down the front of your hands as you roll very slowly. And pay particular attention to whether or not your spinal column is moving incrementally or if it's just coming down in big old chunks. Hang out at the bottom of your legs. Take a breath here. Feel that movement in the back of your spine. As the skin there, the ribs, everything just expands with the breath. Exhale here. And then slowly pushing your feet and like a heavy rag doll, roll back up. Again, trying to travel up through the spine vertebra by vertebra, piece by piece. Arriving in center. And then we're going to send our hips forward and lift up and over a ball and find some extension. If it's okay, you can let your head fall back, reach out through your fingertips, and just try and find a sense of extending up and over rather than just hinging back. Hips stay forward. And then come on back up. Let's go to the right. Tip your head, let your fingertips just slide down your legs, bring a little soft bend to your knees, and we're just going to come down over the hips. So we're going to avoid using the pelvis and going into any kind of hip flexion. We're just going to see how far down we can travel into flexion, bending over our right hip, and then come on back up to center. Same thing, tip your left ear, let your shoulder fall. You're just sort of real heavy like a rag doll, and it's kind of happening in between two invisible pieces of glass. And then come on back through center. Do that one more time. Roll all the way forward. And if you want to stop before you hit that hip flexion this time, to just really notice what's available to you in your spine without the hips adding a piece, go ahead. And then come on back up tall, go back into extension. So we're just sort of taking inventory. We're going to retest these positions after we do some work, after we make everything work. And then going to the side and coming back to center. And as I said before, with everything we're doing, if it hurts, if it's a pinching, a painful experience, then don't go so far, don't push so hard. This is your practice, this is your body. Okay, after that, after you've gone in all four directions, we're just going to come down onto our knees. You may want to pad, if your mat's a little thinner than mine, you may want to pad up onto a blanket. We're going to take either our belt or our yoga strap and wrap it around our rib cage. So, nice tight, not so tight. This isn't, we don't want to get raunchy here. but you're going to give it a little bit of a squeeze so that you feel the restriction of it, the constriction of it. And we're going to try and send our breath. So you can be in a high kneeling position if that feels okay to you. You could be sitting on the edge of a block. We're going to try and send our breath into the band from all directions. And feel it expand against the tension of the band. So you want to feel the movement of your rib cage, 360-degree movement of your rib cage. And can you sit up nice and tall, not just through the top of the head, but in the pelvis? And stay nice and neutral. So the ribs aren't flaring. You're just finding your neutral spine here. And really experiencing that breath in and out, slow and steady, not forcing, through the nostrils, testing the limits of the band. Just using the band for some feedback. One more time. Inhale and feel that expansion. And then exhale and feel it contract just a little bit. Good. Okay, after that, we're going to just keep the band at the ready. Leave your arms nice and heavy. Now we're up in a kneeling position if you're sitting somewhere else. We just want enough room for our arms to be dangling. We're going to squeeze our shoulder blades up towards our ears and reach up through our head. Leave them there and take a breath. And then we're going to protract our shoulder blades forward. Leave them there and take a breath. Exhale it out. And then depress your shoulder blades down. They should be moving towards your hips, away from your ears as your ears reach up. Again, a cycle of breath. And then lastly, really, really retract them back. Try not to pop your ribs. That's one of my cheats. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. And then relax. Let's go in the opposite direction. So we're going to depress. Take a cycle of breath. Squeeze them together. Take a cycle of breath. Notice any compensations. You want to be able to chill in these positions, telling your body everything's okay and you're in control. Shoulder blades up. Squeeze them up. And then send them forward, nice and wide and broad across your back. If you've been spending lots and lots of time, your hands can be resting on your thighs here. If you've been spending lots and lots of time at your desk or on your phone or on any kind of device or at any kind of singular position, movement is your medicine. And then release. So that was one full round of shoulder cars in each direction. We'll come back to it. Okay, and then after that, we're going to think about that head. Let's take our hands to the backs of our head, interlace our fingers, elbows nice and wide. We're not going to pull using the weight of our head. So we're not going to use the musculature effort of our hands. We're just going to let our head come down, nod it forward, so that we're in spinal flexion, just in the neck. And then we're going to resist. So our hands are now going to push just a little bit against our head as we try and protract our ears back, and then resist up into some spinal extension. So it's like we're kind of moving through a wave. Then we're going to let our head float off of our hands as we protract forward and flex down. And then we're going to find, as we retract the head, we're going to find the hands, push against them, and let the head win as you lift your chin. So you're coming up into some cervical extension. Stay nice and tall here through your spine. Protract your ears forward. Let your chin fall down into flexion. And then pull back into your hands. Lift your chin, trying to get taller as you lift up and back. One more time. Float the head off your hands. Drop your chin. Pull back, triple chin here. And then look up and press. Find that work. It should feel like you're making some effort here. Resistance of the hands and the head against each other. And then release. Take your arms down. And we're just going to make fists with our hands and spin our arm bones in the shoulder socket. So we're moving through some rotation through the arm bone right in the glenohumeral joint. I don't want to get too specific, but sometimes it helps. Like you think about a skeleton, think about not the shoulder blades moving, but just the arms spinning in the ball and socket joint of the shoulder. So externally rotate, your palms would look up, but your fists are closed to bring a little bit more tension. Internally rotate, your palms look back. A few more times like this. Try to sort of screw those fists into the earth as you screw the arm bone into the shoulder socket, really wringing out the tension there. So we're trying to bring some effort into it. Okay, let's add on some head and neck movement. So I'm going to externally rotate and squeeze it and hold it and straighten my elbows as much as I can. Drop my chin and tip my right ear to my right shoulder. And then I'm going to add some rotation. I'm going to look up and look down. So my head is sort of resting towards my shoulder. There's a good sensation of stretch through that left side. And I'm trying to kind of move through the tension here as I look up towards the corner of the room and down towards the edge of my mat. A couple more times like this, still wringing out that external rotation. And what's happening with the breath? Can you breathe into your imaginary band? Last one. Don't lose the work of the arms. Don't lose that smooth rotation and flexion in the neck. And then come on back. Come on up. Release that. Shake it out. Same thing again. Rotate externally. Screw those arms into the shoulder sockets and down. Plug them into the earth. Drop your chin. Let your ear tip over to the left. Ooh, this feels a lot. It's a lot. And then look up and down. Now I'm really fighting to continue this rotation as you look up. The eyes travel, not just the head and the eyes. So we're getting that rotation and a little bit of side flexion. So can you keep the breath moving and can you keep the shoulders from stealing the movement of the neck? Can you stop swallowing your head with your shoulders? One more time. Down and up. And then look down, chin back to center, and release. And then we'll just play a little bit here so there's some variability. We're going to internally rotate the right arm, leave the left arm externally rotated, and tip our head to the left. And look down. And then sweep back through center, chin to the right, turn to look up, left arm's internally rotated, right arm externally rotated. And look down, sweep back through center. So continue like this, just sort of rotating the arm individually. So right arm is in external, left arm is in internal, and you can just find different angles that work for you with the head and neck. Keep that effort, that reaching down and away, lots of tension through those arms. Muscles want to work. That's when they feel better, not when we're really super nice and gentle all the time. Okay, and then come on back through center, shake it out. And let's do another level of scat cars. This time you're going to grab either your belt or your strap and you're going to give it a good pull. So your arms are out in front of you, your wrists are straight, your elbows are straight. We're going to do the same thing. Elevate, take a breath, retract. See if this can happen from down in the middle of the back rather than up by the tops of those shoulder blades. And then protract and depress. And then reverse. Stay protracted, depress, retract. Taking a breath in each position. Elevate, take a breath, and then protract. So the whole time you're pulling on that band. Did we go in reverse? Let's do it one more time. Just reverse your order of elevation, retraction, and protraction. Really holding in the position, finding a little extra work, a little extra effort, a little extra tension this second time around, and breathe into it. Imagine the band is there, and then release. Okay, if you need to come up and bang out your legs, that's fine. We're gonna take our right arm forward and our left arm back. We're in a high kneeling position now, so that our arms meet beside our head, and we're gonna continue traveling in that path. Right arm forward, left arm back. Arms are long and straight if you can, as if you're reaching laser beams all around your room in slow motion. And see if you can avoid any sort of movement through the trunk. It's going to be a little bit of movement through the rib cage, but could we keep it pretty quiet and just focus this in the shoulders? And then right arm forward, left arm back. or just reverse direction. I can't remember what it is we started with, but see if you can get things moving in the opposite direction now. So if that means that both arms are moving and you can't figure out how to dissociate those arms, that's fine. Let's just get big circles going. Okay? And if you can, start to cross the front of the body. So if you need to, if both arms are moving in the same way, just make sure you go in both directions. One more time, whether it's individually or together. Take those arms up and back, and then back and forward. And then shake them out. Okay, so bang out your legs, do whatever you need to do, give everything a little, because we're being pretty specific, and we're being pretty high tension here. So sometimes you just need to make a noise and let it out. Okay, let's see if we can do one last thing specifically for the neck before we retest how our necks feel. We're going to take our right arm up and our left arm back, and we're just going to see if we can touch. I'll turn around so you can see. We're going to touch somewhere, maybe in the back of the nape of the neck there, and somewhere in between the shoulder blades, or anywhere on your low back. And then we're going to switch. So this is internal rotation of the lower arm, external rotation of the upper arm. These are called alternating swimmers. And could you, if that feels okay, could you now, next time you touch, could you hover off and then switch? So it looks like this. I touch, I rest for a sec, and then my elbows come back and I hover off, and I straighten my elbows and sweep back around, touch, lock everything down if there's been any kind of movement in the spine, and then hover off and switch. Try that one more time like that, just specifically moving those airplane arms, the swimmer hovers, and trying to get that activation. So it should feel like a lot of work. Remember, if this pinches, make it smaller. You don't have to go up as high as you can. Do that 2 more times on each side. Just rotating the head and neck away from that top arm, that top shoulder, that top bicep. Try and get the hover if you can. I know it's pretty intricate. And then let's do it the opposite. So the next time my left arm is on top, I'm looking to it and just seeing how that changes things. And then look, like you're trying to give your armpit a good smell. I actually put on deodorant today. It's a new day, and I'm feeling good. So we're trying to reach up through the top of the head, reach down through the tail. This could be done in a kneeling position. Last one, look to your armpit. Nice tall rotation of that neck. And then release. Okay, last time. Down towards the ground, retract, depress, hold, breathe. And then squeeze them together, hold, breathe. And then let's reverse, retract, depress, hold, breathe. Protract, squeeze it apart, hold, breathe. Up towards your ears, hold, breathe. And then settle them down. Okay, so with the band, you're just really feeling that movement, sensing it against the band. Sensing the tension of the band, working against the tension of the band. But with the belt, It's not exactly the same, but it's still giving you something to really pull on, and you've got to really, really fight for that movement. Okay, so that was a lot of work in your cervical area. That was a lot of work up in the shoulders, the upper back. See if things have maybe changed, maybe. Okay, so drop your chin to your chest and take a slow, easy. And finish up. Okay, so something to think about. Maybe more work is better, the right work, right? Okay, let's come down into a quadruped position and let's check in with our spines. So I'm just gonna move in this direction. I'm gonna tuck my tail and move through a cat. And then lift my tail and try to find that segmental movement of the spine into a cow. And again, let's revisit. And how much movement do you have in the flexion and extension? And then come back to sort of neutral. And let's go to the side with the hip and the head and the shoulders. So you're kind of banana-ing in lateral flexion here. One more time in each direction, side and side. And then back to center. And then we're gonna sit back into what I'll call a collapsed quadruped and take my right hand to my left shoulder, and I'm just gonna let my elbow come closer towards the ground here as I rotate, and then further away from the ground as I rotate to open. So I'm looking to see how much rotation I have in my rib cage spine. My head's moving, not individually, but from the movement of the T-spine, the head moves. So it's like a spit. I'm trying to keep my pelvis out of it. And then let's switch. Left hand. Helpful to feel with the band. Okay, good, Ruth. Awesome. Open and rotate to close. Push into the floor, rotate to open. This is definitely my more mobile side. That's what it feels like. And we're trying not to make this about a back bend. One more time. Rotate to open and then come back to neutral. Okay, so that was just, again, that was sort of your first test, your initial inventory. We'll find it again. And then keep this at the ready. In a collapsed quadruped position, so what we were just in, so you're not quite up on all fours. We're gonna put a little bit more weight back into our hips. Let's move into our cat. Push the floor away from you more, like we did with our neck. We're gonna bring a little bit more tension into it. Take a breath here. Exhale it out. And then see if you can push the floor away and find even more rounding of your spine. Head is heavy. Inhale. Breathe into your back and your sides. And then exhale. And push again. One more time. Inhale. So you're really bringing out as much flexion of your spine as you can. Use your hands. Use your knees. Push the ground away from you. And exhale. Move through your spine into your extension. Same thing. 3 rounds of breath. Holding this position. Trying to ramp up the tension. Pull your hands and your knees towards each other. Find more length, more of a curve in your spine. Take a breath. And exhale. Can you lift your sternum more? Can you reach through your ears more? Another round of breath. Lots of contraction through the back line, lots of expansion through the front line. Last round of breath. Really bring out all that extension. Exhale completely. And then sit back. Come on up for a sec. Move around whatever needs to move around. And then let's grab our band or our belt. We're gonna take our arms forward Think about those shoulder blades. Let them move as we move our arms now. We're going to pull some tension into the band or the belt, so you're stretching it apart, and then we're going to send our elbows back like we're trying to do a push-up here, or a pull-up. So you're at the bottom of a push-up, you're at the top of a pull-up, and then we're going to press it forward. So let your shoulder blades move to move your arms. So I've got protraction as my arms go forward, retraction as my arms go back. Okay, pretty simple, but if you'll notice, for me, my right shoulder wants to hike up. Notice whether or not your shoulders want to hike up rather than just retract. Now, can we add some of that spinal movement to it? So the next time your arms go forward, find your flexion. You can be up in a high kneeling position here if it helps. And then your arms come back and you find your extension. Nice and slow. Try and time the movement of your spine with the movement of your arms so you're at the height of your extension. Your arms are as straight as possible when you're at the height of your flexion. And then reverse. Try and find all that extension as you pull your elbows back. Couple more times. Keep pulling on the band or pulling on the belt. We're looking to create tension here. We're looking for musculature engagement. Last one. And done. Okay, so you can work up a sweat with that stuff. I know it sounds crazy. And then we're gonna move into lateral, so those side bends. We're gonna train the spine like that. So I'm gonna tuck the band underneath my left shin, my left knee. Okay, make sure it's nice and secure there. And then I'm gonna drape my right elbow over my head and push my head up into my right elbow, okay? And then there's a couple options. You really wanna make sure it's underneath your knee. So already you're feeling how it's kind of pulling you over to the side. You wanna fight that. So we're fighting for stability, and then we're gonna fight for the movement against the band. We're gonna use the tension of the band. So I'm going to side bend to the right, and I'm gonna feel all that pull there, and I'm gonna breathe into it. Now, you can, if the band moving bugs you, you can just sort of lock it down with your hand. So breathe into your left side ribs. Feel all that expansion. Keep your tail tucking. You're up in hip extension. You're in a tall kneeling position. And then when you come back up, crunch over. Breathe into the right side. So you can have your hands on your rib cage to remind you to find that breath, so that those tails are tucking, the glutes are on, the hamstrings are helping, and we're trying not to round forward. We're trying to, again, make this happen in between two panes of glass, so it's in one plane of movement. So all the way over to each side. Take a breath on that band side as you come away from the band. And then find that crunch. One more time. So we're getting lots of extension on the left side, lots of contraction on the right side. And then come on back up. Okay, same thing, second side. I hope that made some sense. I know that there's a lot of new information, but these are things you can play with if you have time. If you don't have a band, the weight of the arm alone is a lot to work with, okay? You can lock that band away behind your shoulder, tuck your tail, find that tall spine as you push up into your forearm. Side bend to the left, away from that band. Breathe into your right side. Notice if you're rounding or contorting. We just want that side bend. And then come on back up through center and contract. I could probably use a little more tension, so you can always change the amount of tension. And then come on back up and over. Side bend. Breathe into your right rib cage. All this. Feel it move. Feel it expand, and then feel it soften back. Come on up. And side bend in the opposite direction. Last one. So we're just tipping over to the left, working against the tension of the band. Breathe into that right side body. And then come on back up and contract the right side. Okay. And then from there, we're going to move into working with that rotation of our T-spine. So this one's kind of fun. Take your band underneath your right knee. So you might want to pad your left knee here. You can have your toes down, you can have your toes under, whatever feels good for you. We're going to pull up on that band. Straighten our elbows. So already your shoulder blades are in a little bit of protraction, your elbows are locked out, and you're trying to stabilize. Pull your heel and your knee towards each other. What's happening with the pelvis? Can we think about more length through the lumbar and a little bit of work to keep that pelvis nice and stable. Now, as you pull over to the left, you're gonna have to fight and use your hips to keep that knee from collapsing, okay? So I'm gonna rotate away from my right knee. Try and train into those muscles that create that rotation, and then resist against the pull of the band to come back with control. So away, any amount. If this is like way too much tension for you, then you can tie your band off and just use one end of your band, okay? We want it to be difficult, but we don't want it to be so difficult that you've got no movement whatsoever. So fight the pull of the band with the outer right hip to keep the knee centered, rotate, and come back. 2 more times for maybe a total of 5. They're really slow, really controlled. Find your edge, breathe into it. See if you can wring out any more rotation after your exhale, and then slowly come back. 1 more time on your own. Stick with it. And then come on back. And let's try it on the other side. Set yourself up, find a pad for your right knee. Loop the band around your left knee. Tuck your tail. Drive the feet towards each other. Stabilize the pelvis. Get tall through the spine. Find your breath here. And then begin to move. Fight the pull of the band with that left outer hip. Rotate. Find your breath. See if you can bring out any more rotation. And then come on back with control. A few more on your own. Remember, you've got your options here. How much tension? So if you have the belt, continue with this. If you have the belt, you're going to be pulling the belt and just working your rotation using a little bit more high tension, a little bit more radiation by pulling that belt. You're still doing the exact same thing, just different feedback, different work. 1 more time all together. Squeeze your tail underneath you. Stay nice and stable from the navel down. Bring out that rotation. Find a cycle of breath. Got any more? And then with control, come on back. Okay. Let's take a sack and come down onto our backs very slowly. So with your feet rooted, we're going to take the band maybe through the heels here. Walk your feet forward. Find that free pelvis. And super slowly, you're going to want your hands maybe at the very top of your band. Super slowly roll down. See if you can fight the band. And then hold. Breathe. And then roll down. So a little bit more of your lumbar spine now releases towards the floor. Hold. Breathe. Stay rounded. A little bit more of your spine releases to the floor. Hold. Breathe. Stay rounded. Now just your shoulder blades are up. And then come all the way down. Find a breath here. If you want to straighten your legs out, you can. If you want to keep them bent, you can. And then we're going to reverse. So this band's going to want to pull you up really fast. Could you instead control against the pull of the band and really slowly roll up bit by bit until you're on your setting bones. Okay, so that was just a nice little tour of abdominal control of the spine. Okay, from there, we're gonna come on up and retest. Let's roll through cat and cow. Tuck your tail. See if you feel any more mobility. So the ability to smoothly control the movement of your spine and to feel and sense that more things are moving that you want to move and less things are moving that you don't want to move. How's it feeling if you go into that side flexion? Take stock again. Another round of inventory. And then from there, let's see if, yeah, okay, we've got time for one more banded exercise. Let's go back down onto our back. So if you liked that idea of working with the band to really find that abdominal control, you can take a slow roll down with the band, or you can just do it on your own, working against gravity, finding your pause, finding your hang time, living in those pauses, breathing in those pauses. And then we're going to bring our knees up, wrap the band around our knees and squeeze our legs together. And then pull your band out nice and tight. Let's start with the feet on the floor and just take our knees over to the right any amount. So this is lumbar rotation. You can have your hands in any orientation that feels right to you, palms up, palms down, and then your knees over to the left. Again, pelvic rotation, lumbar rotation. So the low back is moving, the upper back is quiet. This might feel like enough for you. Try and keep your feet together. I'm not doing a very good job of it. Just tipping onto the edges there. If you'd like to take this a little bit further, make it a bit bigger, float your legs up, squeeze your legs together, and fight against the tension of the band to take your knees over to the right, back to center, over to the left, back to center. Can you keep your ribs down? Can you breathe as you play here? Training rotation, fighting against falling over, working against the tension as you move up and down away from the mat. 2 more times in each direction. If this feels really easy, maybe around the feet. Never really tried this. Elbows are going to be bent, and you're going to take it over, pause, and then squeeze it back up. Take it over, so you've got more load, more length to work against, and bring it back up. So try one more variation, all your own. You decide what works for you. And then from there, we'll roll into a teeny tiny little ball. So you're still down on the mat, I apologize. And we're just going to rock along our spine and see if we can hold all that contraction through the front line of the body to get a very round spine and use as little momentum as possible and more of the abdominals in the front of the body to think about sort of flipping the pelvis and rocking from shoulders to tail. We're never slamming our head. 1 or 2 more times like that if that feels good. And then we'll all meet standing at the front of the mat. If you can get there with this little assistance from your hands, then great. But use your hands as you need them so you feel safe as you come to standing. Okay, maybe a little gentle bounce. We'll do a little bit of yoga now and see if it feels any different than it usually does when you move through these postures. So with your feet underneath you, standing in your mountain pose, take a moment and be the mountain. Feel tall, feel stable, feel grounded. Find that diaphragmatic breathing in and out through the nostrils. And then sweep your arms up as you inhale. And as you exhale, hinge and use all those muscles to control your spine. Keep it neutral as you come all the way forward. Hang over your legs. Inhale, come on halfway up, find all your length. Broaden through your collarbones. As you exhale, plant your hands, step back into plank. You can have your knees down. Pull your hands and your toes or your knees towards each other. Take a breath here. Exhale it out. One more time, inhale. And as you exhale, begin to bend your elbows, pull yourself. Think about the work you did with your band. Pull yourself to your belly. Come onto the tops of your legs. A little bit of work in the tush. Inhale, pull through. Find your extension, either in a cobra with the elbows bent, or if you're good to float the legs and it feels good, think about all that work you did and find your upward dog. And then roll over your toes, bend your knees a little bit, and send your hips back into downward dog. See how much length you can get through your spine here. Lots of traction. Can you find that movement of your shoulder blades here under load? Can you find that movement of your pelvis here under load? And then step your right foot forward. Come into a high lunge. Inhale up. A warrior. As you exhale, stay here, really squeeze and stabilize and find a little bit more flexion in the spine. Protract your shoulders, reach forward. And then again, find a little bit more extension. Maybe pull your elbows down, think about that work with the band. And then straighten your arms, open up into your warrior two. Your toes of the back foot are looking in, your front foot is facing forward. Arms down by your shoulders. Maybe play with rotation of those arms here, those shoulders. And then keep that right arm looking up. Bend backwards over that strong back leg. Reverse your warrior. Find your breath. And then come on all the way over into your side angle. Sweep that left arm up. Push the floor away from you. Find all that length in your side body. Find your breath there without collapsing into the right side. And then looking down, bring your left knee down. We'll move into rotation. Sweep both arms up. Split the arms and rotate to look to the back of the room. Now this might be where you want to stay, or maybe you want to take your elbow in, close it off, and breathe here. Perhaps you want to float the back knee. It's up to you. Revolve lunge. And then turn to look down. Plant both hands, downward dog. If it feels good, roll forward into plank or stay in downward dog. And then moving still through the spine. Find your extension, find your back bend. Push the floor away from you. Downward dog. Same thing, left side. Left foot forward. High lunge, set it up, tuck your tail, fix those legs, firm foundation so that you can move into spinal flexion, reaching forward, and then pull into extension. Try that one more time, really stable from the ground up so that you can be mobile from the waist up. And then turn to the side of your mat, warrior two. Rotate those arm bones. Leave the left one up. Flow back over that back leg. Side body, breathe into it. And then come forward, keeping all that length, all that height, no collapsing. Firm in the back leg, one long line. And then on your next cycle of breath, turn to look down, plant the back knee. Come on up, tall spine. Find your rotation. Now, do you want to stay in that open chain and really ring it out? Or change it up? It's up to you. Any version. Back leg can float or not. Find your breath. Live and breathe in these positions. Hold your calm. Tell your body it's all fine. Plant your hands. Step back to downward dog. Take a cycle of breath there. Exhale it out. And then looking forward, come down onto your shins. From there, we're just gonna sit down and take our legs forward with your knees bent, and you're right up on your sitting bones. You want to be able to move from your pelvis, not rounding from your spine. Can you just drape your ribs and your chest over your thighs and take a hold of whatever's available to you? Breathe into the back side of your body. Breathe into the sides of your ribs. And then if that feels okay and you want to find a little bit more work there for your hamstrings, you can begin to work your heels forward, begin to straighten your legs, perhaps folding a little bit deeper, but you just go to your edge where you can breathe and feel okay and supported by the breath in this position. And then come on up, we'll take that right leg in, so it's bent in the right leg, straight in the left, and we'll take an open twist here, away from the right leg, over the left side. Breathe into your back, breathe into your side body here. And then unwind that twist, open your right knee, shift your left hip forward a little bit, and we'll come into a side bend. You can push into that left hand, get a little bit more leverage, or just, hang out here and breathe. So we don't have to be extreme in these things. We can just enjoy the full movement of the breath and experience how things have shifted over the course of the last hour. Come on up, same thing. Opposite side, right leg straight, left leg in. At first, the pelvis is fairly square, and we rotate over the right side. Find some height here, find your breath here. Feel the expansion. And after your next exhale, turn, slide your right hip forward, and plant the right hand on the left thigh as you fold over that left leg. Side body stretch. Can you stay rooted and grounded in your left hip? Can you get taller through your spine? And then slowly come on up. We've got a couple more minutes. One more time, find yourself on your back. If you want to take a slow ride down, that's fine. If you want to rock a little bit, that's fine. Come onto your back any way that suits you. We're going to move into some options for bridge here. So with your feet pretty much hips width distance apart, your head on the mat, neck is free. We're not slamming it into the mat. We're going to take our arms down, drive our feet into the ground, tuck our tails, and come on up. At first, we're just looking for as much hip extension as we can. Think about keeping that spine pretty quiet and neutral. You're on the back of your shoulders, the back of your arms, and the back of your head. This might feel like enough for you. If you like, interlace your arms, scooch and retract those arms underneath you. Turn it into more of a traditional yoga bridge. Think about just, working those feet into the mat, sending the hips high, squeezing the shoulder blades. Make sure your neck is free. If this feels good, breathe into this position. You want the entire back chain of the body working to open up the entire front chain. If you'd like to take this into a little bit of a twist, you're going to take your right hand, walk your feet and your hands a little bit closer to each other. Make contact somehow, fingertips pressing into the inner edge of your feet. You're going to drive the right hand into the right foot, and then we're going to slice on the diagonal with that left arm and look to the right. So it's a bit of a twist. Reach more with the left knee and the left fingertips. And then come on back to center. Stay high. Stay up in those hips. Press left fingertips into left foot. And reach with the right on the diagonal. Reach with the knee, reach with the fingers on the right side. Looking for more length. Press against the ground. Come on back to center. One more round of breath in your neutral bridge. And then slowly lower down. Bring your knees into your chest, compressing your hips a little bit. Rock from side to side in your happy baby pose. Really use those legs, let them get heavy now out to the side to get a little bit more sensation of massaging your body, using your body weight. And then we're going to leave our knees over to the right and open our chest to the left. Take your head to the left. Once again, experience the breath from that left side. Let things get slower, smoother with the breath. Take your time there. And when you're ready, come back to center. Give yourself a hug. Shift your hips to the right. And let your knees fall to the left. And then same thing. Open through the chest. Rotate and look over those right fingertips. So we're beginning to wind down, obviously. If there's something you feel you need to do, maybe you like to throw your legs up the wall. Maybe you want to go into a shoulder stand. Something you're familiar with, something you feel that your body is craving. Or just take one more breath in that twist, and then we'll circle the shins on the ceiling. Just bringing a little life, a little blood flow back into the low back. Reverse that circling. And then maybe shake the legs out. And move into whatever resting position feels right for you. I'm just going to come into an upright position. So we did a lot of high tension work. We ramped up the nervous system quite a lot. Take some time to rest here. We may cut out in a minute. And I just want to really invite you to, once again, explore that diaphragmatic breathing. Feel, you could even put your belt back on and breathe into it that way. Just really take some time to settle down. Let your inhales and exhales become slow and smooth and even in length if you can. And just visit even that sensation of really pausing at your fullest expansion and pausing at your emptiest contraction, and just really just let things get slow and steady. So take your time, and when you feel like your heart rate has returned to normal and you feel like you're nice and calm and you're ready for your day, then bring yourself up off the mat and, think about these things. Sometimes a little bit of work is better than, no work at all. Asking your muscles to be muscles rather than just tight tissue. It's a good thing for you. Ugh, I just sounded like Martha Stewart. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for your body to do. This is nutrition. This is what your body wants. It wants to move and breathe and be a body, not just a vehicle for your eyeballs and your brain. Okay? Have a wonderful day. Thank you. And if you have any questions or any comments, you can get back to me on my page, maybe, because I don't really check in with this. So I think I'm Ali L376. I'm sure there's a link on here. Have a good one. Ciao for now. Oh, that won't work. I gotta come up there.